Come through, come through, come through. Ain't nobody coming through. Guess it's just me and you. Oh, there's somebody. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Hey, shout out to you, Jazunga. I think that's how you pronounce it. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up button. Really appreciate it if you do. All right, back with another live stream video. Back with the Book of Enoch, Part 7. We still got 2 hours left on this book. I ain't even gonna lie. Shit. Crazy. So,
and secret of righteousness. He showed me all the hidden things of the extremities of heaven, all the receptacles of the stars, and the splendors of all, from whence they went forth before the face of the holy. And he concealed the spirit of Enoch in the heaven of heavens. There I beheld, in the midst of that light, a building raised with stones of ice. And in the midst of these stones, vibrations of living fire. My spirit saw around the circle of this flaming habitation on one of its extremities that there were rivers full of living fire which encompassed it. Then the seraphim, the cherubim, and the Ophanim surrounded it. These are those who never sleep, but watch the throne of his glory. And I beheld angels innumerable, thousands of thousands, and myriads of myriads who surrounded that habitation. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Phanuel, and the holy angels who were in the heavens above went in and out of it. Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel went out of that habitation, and holy angels innumerable.
Dang, that's messed up.
With them was the Ancient of Days, whose head was white as wool and pure, and his robe was indescribable.
Thank you for that.
Then I fell upon my face, while all my flesh was dissolved, and my spirit became changed. I cried out with a loud voice, with a powerful spirit, blessing, glorifying, and exalting. And those blessings which proceeded from my mouth became acceptable in the presence of the Ancient of Days. Ancient of Days came with Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, with thousands of thousands and myriads of myriads.
You know what it is, bro? It ain't even that it's fucking that long. Shout out to my bro coming through. It's I keep talking longer than the fucking book. But the first book I had, like, that was like different books, and it was like 17 hours long, full of somebody else like interpreting and like coming to their own conclusions. But this one is actually 3 hours. But we only got it in an hour for like the past 2 days off the strength I've been talking like 2 hours extra. So, but been fuck. I've been shit. If you was here, man, you missed it yesterday because we learned. Well, shit, you fucked with Lucifer show, the TV show. Man, found out Lucifer didn't fucking. It wasn't him who fucking fucked up Eve and him. He wasn't even there. Some other angels and shit. Like a lot of shit been blamed on Lucifer, and he ain't had nothing to do with it. He was just the first one that said, "Hey, I want to be like God." And God was like, "You want to be like me? You got it. You got to get up out of here. I don't want nobody on my level." So God kicked him out of heaven, sent him to earth where he can rule this area. So, but it was 200 other angels that had, well, they had their own agenda. They came down to earth with the secrets to heaven, which was like how to kill people, like different ways of killing, did like evil, all of that shit. The wisdom and all of that shit didn't come from like fucking Satan Lucifer is telling Eve to eat from the tree, was seducing her. Like she was seduced by another angel who had a whole different mindset, but Lucifer got blamed. It's kind of fucked up though. Hey, shout out you, QOH coming through, you know? Exactly. He was just the first one to say, man, I want, he was like, I want power too. Like, why, why would God get mad at Lucifer for Lucifer wanting to be just like God? Don't we all want to be like God? So if I get to heaven and I'm like, man, I'm still trying to evolve mentally. I'm trying to grow spiritually. I want to get on God level. God gonna be like, fuck that shit. Cause just like with the Tower of Babel, when everybody was working towards like building a building up to heaven, and God came down like, no, y'all motherfuckers working together. I don't like this shit. Then he made everybody have different languages and they couldn't communicate with each other. God don't want you on his level. He wants to be the only one. But he knows there are other gods. That's why he claims the title God of Gods. Cause you got a
He
big ego.
numbered. Then that angel came to me, and with his voice saluted me, saying, Thou art
Exactly
the
like,
offspring of man. Thou art born for righteousness, and righteousness has rested on thee.
like
The righteousness
fucking Lucifer been getting bad rap for thousands of years, and he just sitting back like, y'all blaming all this bullshit on me. I ain't got nothing to do with fucking sin, evil, trickery, seduction. That shit ain't got nothing to do with me. It was those 200 angels that came down here sleeping with women, and they came down here. They stole the secrets of heaven, and they gave it to mankind. So I feel bad kind of for Lucifer, because he like, man, first of all, I got kicked out of heaven just because I wanted more for myself. And then all this bad shit is blamed on me. But God knew what he was doing. He like, hey, since you want to be the fucking king of everything, I'll make you the king of evilness then. Like so.
of the Ancient of Days shall not forsake thee. He said, On thee shall he confer peace in the name of the existing world. For from thence has peace gone forth since the world was created. And thus shall it happen to thee forever and ever. All who shall exist and who shall walk in thy path of righteousness shall not forsake thee forever. With thee shall be their habitations, with thee their lot, nor from thee shall they be separated forever
Hey, go,
and
boy.
ever. And thus
Make
shall
sure y'all
length of days
subscribe to
be
the
with the offspring
moderators.
of
Make
man.
sure y'all go subscribe to my little
Peace
brother,
shall be
Jinx.
to the righteous, and the path
If
of
you haven't subscribed
integrity
to me
shall the
already, hit that
righteous
subscribe button.
pursue, in the name of the Lord of spirits, forever and ever. Section 13, Chapter 71. The book of the revelations of the luminaries of heaven, according to their respective classes, their respective powers, their respective periods, their respective names, the places where they commence their progress, and their respective months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, explained to me, he who conducts them, the whole account of them, according to
Uriel is
every
named
year of the
more than
world
fucking
forever, until
Michael
a
in
new work shall
his
be
book.
effected, which will be eternal. This is the first law of the luminaries. The sun and the light arrive at the gates of heaven, which are on the east, and on the west of it at the western gates of heaven. I beheld the gates whence the sun goes forth, and the gates where the sun sets, in which gates also the moon rises and sets. And I beheld the conductors of the stars among those who precede them. 6 gates were at the rising, and 6 at the setting of the sun. All these, respectively, one after another, are on a level, and numerous windows are on the right and on the left sides of those gates. First proceeds forth that great luminary, which is called the sun, the orb of which is as the orb of heaven, the whole of it being replete with splendid and flaming fire. Its chariot, where it ascends, the wind blows. The sun sets in heaven, and returning by the north to proceed towards the east, is conducted so as to enter by that gate, and illuminate the face of heaven. In the same manner it goes forth in the first month by a great gate. It goes forth through the fourth of those 6 gates, which are at the rising of the sun. And in the fourth gate, through which the sun with the moon proceeds, in the first part of it, there are 12 open windows, from which issues out a flame when they are opened at their proper periods. When the sun rises in heaven, it goes forth through this fourth gate 30 days, and by the fourth gate in the west of heaven, on a level with it, descends. During that period, the day is lengthened from the day, and the night curtailed from the night for 30 days. And then the day is longer by 2 parts than the night. The day is precisely 10 parts, and the night is 8. The sun goes forth through this fourth gate and sets in it, and turns to the fifth gate during 30 days, after which it proceeds from and sets in the fifth gate. Then the day becomes lengthened by a
The reason
second
I
portion.
can't like truly take the Bible into fucking like say it's like serious. How the fuck they know? Like I know they saying like Enoch talked to the angels and shit, talked to gods, had all these visions. But how the fuck he know who it was like he was seeing? How he know he wasn't seeing his ancestors? How he know he wasn't seeing no fucking aliens or extraterrestrials? How the fuck do he know? But at the same time, the book of Enoch alone gives more fucking credibility to like the Bible and like how God truly is, like why he fucking destroyed the world. Like it's because he was trying to get rid of the angels and what they created. Like he seen them coming down here having sex with women. He ain't want that. God wanted them niggas. I ain't gonna say he wanted them to be gay or nothing, but they like supposed to be like priests. Nobody gets married. So the angels that did rebel, besides Satan didn't even give a fuck about no female. The 200 angels that came down here, like they was trying to get some pussy. Like so, once they did that, God was like, "You defiled yourselves by sleeping with these humans, which I created." Like, damn, you created all of us, didn't you? We can't fucking mingle. It's like motherfucking the military when you what is it? You can't be sleeping with what's the word? Fraternization. That's what it is. Basically, God was like, y'all fraternizing with my creation. So he kept kicked made everybody stay on earth. Then he flooded this bitch. But there's still evil around, like there's still fuckery going on. So he couldn't destroy. I mean, once again, I know it's just a story. He didn't fucking do that. So the angel, yeah, like shit. I told her I was one of them angels, like shit, because the way I had a fucking lust for women problem, like I just healed from that shit. I just like figured that shit out. It took me lifetimes to get over like just my lust for women. So hooray for me. Probably God let me back into heaven now because I didn't learn my lesson after all these thousands of years. But fuck that, I'm going somewhere else.
So that it is 11 parts, while the night becomes shortened and is only 7 parts.
So
The
it's get
sun
night
now
and day in
returns
heaven
to
and
the
shit.
east, entering into the 6th gate, and rising and setting in the 6th gate 31 days on account of its signs. At that period, the day is longer than the night, being twice as long as the night, and becomes 12 parts. But the
See,
night is
I like
shortened and
nighttime.
becomes 6 parts.
I'm a person
Then the
like
sun.
I don't like all that sunlight. I got in my fucking house. I got dark curtains, like no sun. I don't. I mean, of course you need sun. Like it's good for like black people overall too. But when I'm in my house, like just overall, I like dark better. Like I like rainy, gloomy weather or just the sunshine all the time. And heaven seems like the opposite of a place that I want to go. Just being straight up. Because I'm creative enough to visualize like the perfect scenario, a place where I want to go. And so what somebody else created as their heaven, that's not something like I want to like visit myself. I want to be able to create my own shit, be the god of my own world. Well, that's what I'm doing now. Like shit, I create my own reality. We all do, but I want to be able to do that shit on a like scale like this god did.
Rises up,
That's why
that the
I probably
day
got
may be
kicked out too, because I
shortened
want
and the
power. I
night
want to evolve.
lengthened,
I don't want to just be
and the
stuck under
sun
nobody.
returns towards the east, entering into the 6th gate, where it rises and
Make
sets
sure I hit
for
that like
30
button.
days. When that period is
Mm-hmm.
completed, the
Yeah,
day becomes
it's
shortened
been pretty
precisely
cool out here
1
in Vegas
part,
for
so that it
recently.
is 11 parts, while the night is 7 parts. Then the sun goes from the west, from that 6th gate, and proceeds eastwards, rising in the 5th gate for 30 days, and setting again westwards in the 5th gate of the west. At that period, the day becomes shortened 2 parts and is 10 parts, while the night is 8 parts. Then the sun goes from the 5th gate as it sets in the 5th gate of the
A lot
west
of this is
and
pointless.
rises in the 4th gate
Pointless
for
information.
31 days on account of its signs setting in the west.
Minnesota. I've
At
never
that
been to
period-
Minnesota. I got people out there, but I've never been. Like shit. What I know like about the Malls of America, that's about it. And like the how many lakes is it out in Minnesota? I know it's like the place with like the most lakes. Like, but I've never been there. Cause of the, like I know it's cold, it's like, but it probably get hot in the summertime. Shit, I don't know.
The day is made equal
I
with
just
the
know
night,
about the cold
and
weather.
being equal with it, the night becomes 9 parts, and the day 9 parts. Then the sun goes from that gate as it sets in the west, and returning to the east, proceeds by the 3rd gate for 30 days, setting in the west at the
Yeah.
3rd gate. At that period, the night is lengthened from the day during 30 mornings, and the day is curtailed
That's
from
probably
the
why it
day
gets so
during
cold.
30
Y'all got all
days.
that water.
The night being 10 parts precisely, and the day 8 parts. The sun now goes from the 3rd gate as it sets in the 3rd gate in the west. But returning to the east, it proceeds by the 2nd gate of the east.
YouTube will literally show that there is 0 people in here, yet there's people commenting. Like, I think YouTube be trying to discourage me from just getting on live and shit. Summertime is nice here. I've never heard about Minnesota's weather in the summertime. Like it's always broadcasted, oh, Minnesota's cold. But of course there is summer. Pretty sure it's not like Alaska. But even the certain parts of Alaska get like 70 degrees in the summertime, like 80 degrees. So it ain't that bad. But I just never been.
For 30 days. In like manner also it sets in the 2nd gate in the west of heaven. At that period, the night is 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. Then the sun goes at that time from the 2nd gate as it sets in the 2nd gate in the west, but returns to the east, proceeding by the 1st gate for 31 days, and sets in the west in the 1st gate. At that period, the night is lengthened as much again as the day. It is 12 parts precisely, while the day is 6 parts.
Yeah,
The sun has thus completed its beginnings, and a second time goes round from these beginnings. Into that gate it enters for 30 days, and sets in the west, in the opposite part of heaven. At that period, the night is contracted in its length a 4th part, that is, 1 portion, and becomes 11 parts. The day is 7 parts. Then the sun returns and enters into the 2nd gate of the east.
Like, we got to?
It returns by these beginnings 30 days, rising and setting. At that period, the night is contracted in its length. It becomes 10 parts, and the day 8 parts. Then the sun goes from that 2nd gate and sets in the west, but returns to the east and rises in the east in the 3rd gate 31 days, setting in the west of heaven. At that period, the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. The year is precisely 364 days. A lengthening of the day and night and the contraction of the day and night are made to differ from each other by the progress of the sun. By means of this progress, the day is daily lengthened and the night greatly shortened. This is the law and progress of the sun, and its turning when it turns back, turning during 60 days and going forth. This is the great everlasting luminary, that which he names the sun, forever and ever. This also is that which goes forth a great luminary, and which is named after its peculiar kind, as God commanded. And thus it goes in and out, neither slackening nor resting, but running on its chariot by day and by night. It shines with a 7th portion of light from the moon. It shines with a 7th portion of light from the moon. But the dimensions of both are equal. Section 14, Chapter 72. After this, I beheld another law of an inferior luminary, the name of which is the moon, and the orb of which is the orb of heaven. Its chariot, which it secretly ascends, the wind blows. and light is given to it by measure. Every month, at its exit and entrance, it becomes changed, and its periods are as the periods of the sun. And when, in like manner, its light is to exist, its light is a seventh portion from the light of the sun. Thus it rises, and at its commencement towards the east goes forth for 30 days. At that time it appears and becomes to you the beginning of the month. 30 days it is with the sun in the gate from which the sun goes forth. Half of it is in extent 7.
Why? Why is this in the Bible? What fucking reason is this pointless ass shit in there? Like, it's a bunch of pointless shit in the fucking book. Like, for what? But I understand it. It's like watching a movie, right? You can't just have the main character and like co-stars and no fucking extras in the background. Like, so you gotta fill the shit out, right? But still, fill that shit out with something else. This shit boring as fuck.
Portions, 1/2, and the whole of its orb is void of light, except a seventh portion out of the 14 portions of its light. And in a day it receives a seventh portion, or half that portion, of its light. Its light is by sevens, by 1 portion, and by the half of a portion. It sets with the sun. And when the sun rises, the moon rises with it, receiving half a portion of light. On that night, when it commences its period, previously to the day of the month, the moon sets with the sun. And on that night, it is dark in its 14 portions. Uriel showed me, the holy angel who conducted them all. Their stations I wrote down as he showed them to me. I wrote down their months as they occur, and the appearance of their light, until it is completed in 15 days. In each of its 2 7 portions, it completes all its light at rising and at setting. On stated months, it changes its settings, and on stated months, it makes its progress through each gate. In 2 gates, the moon sets with the sun, viz. In those 2 gates which are in the midst, in the 3rd and 4th gate. From the 3rd gate, it goes forth for 7 days, and makes its circuit. Again, it returns to the gate whence the sun goes forth, and in that completes the whole of its light. Then it declines from the sun, and enters in 8 days into the 6th gate, and returns in 7 days to the 3rd gate, from which the sun goes forth. When the sun proceeds to the 4th gate, the moon goes forth for 7 days, until it passes from the 5th gate.
Actually, I hit that like
Again,
button.
it returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, and completing
like
all
button.
its light,
New to the
declines
channel.
and passes on by the
subscribe.
1st gate
Really
in
appreciate
8
it.
days, and returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, from which the sun goes forth. Thus I beheld their stations, as according to the fixed order of the months the sun rises and sets. At those times may come neither 2 forwards nor 2 backwards a single day, but that the years may be changed with correct precision in 364 days. In 3 years the days are 1,092. In 5 years they are 1,820. And in 8 years, 2,912 days. To the moon alone belong in 3 years 1,062 days. In 5 years, it has 50 days less than the sun, for an addition being made to the 1,062 days. In 5 years, there are 1,770 days. And the days of the moon in 8 years are 2,832 days. For its days in 8 years are less than those of the sun by 80 days, which 80 days are its diminution in 8 years. The year then becomes truly complete according to the station of the moons and the station of the sun, which rise in the different gates, which rise and set in them for 30 days.
In heaven as well. Like, it's all
Chapter 74.
Monday to Sunday, that bitch.
These are the leaders of the chiefs of the thousands, those which preside over all creation and over all the stars, with the 4 days which are added and never separated from the place allotted them, according to the complete computation of the year. And these serve 4 days, which are not computed in the computation of the year. Respecting them, men greatly err, for these luminaries truly serve in the mansion of the world 1 day in the 1st gate, 1 in the 3rd gate, one in the fourth, and one in the sixth gate. And the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364th state of it, for the signs, the seasons, the years, and the days. Uriel showed me, the angel whom the Lord of glory appointed over all the luminaries, of heaven and in the world, that they might rule in the face of the sky, and appearing over the earth, become conductors of the days and nights, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the ministers of heaven, which make their circuit with all the chariots of heaven. Thus Uriel showed me 12 gates open for the circuit of the chariots of the sun in heaven, from which the rays of the sun shoot forth. From these proceed heat over the earth, when they are opened in their stated seasons. They are for the winds, and the spirit of the dew, when in their seasons they are opened in heaven at its extremities. 12 gates I beheld in heaven, at the extremities of the earth, through which the sun, moon, and stars, and all the works of heaven proceed at their rising and setting. Many windows also are open on the right and on the left. One window at a certain season grows extremely hot. So also are there gates from
We
which the
still talking about
stars go
heaven, right?
forth, as they are commanded, and in which
Will it
they
get hot and
set,
cold in
according to
heaven?
their number.
Fuck
I
that
saw
shit.
likewise the chariots of heaven running in the world above to those gates in which the stars turn, which never set. One of these is greater than all, which
What if you
goes
get to
round
heaven
the whole world.
and you hate the fucking weather? Like, it ain't how you want it to be. It ain't how you thought it was gonna be. Like, what if it's the complete fucking opposite? Actually, it is complete opposite. Because what heaven is you're gonna be worshiping God for 24/7 for the rest of your life, for eternity. You're gonna be blessing Him. Like, so I won't be there. I ain't gonna be in hell either. I'll be somewhere in my own fucking mind, in fucking reality, living the life I want to live. But people who plan on going to heaven, you can either worship and bless for the rest of your eternity, or you can quote unquote burn for the sins you did. Like, damn, it's a lose-lose situation for Christian. Glad I'm not in that shit. Glad I'm not in it. Fucking at least fucking Greek mythology, they had like three levels. They had the level where the fucked up people went. Then they had the level where the people who didn't do nothing with their life, but they wasn't bad people. So then they had the level where like the heroes went. Like that was like basically the three levels. So the people who was fucked up, the people who didn't do nothing, and then the people who became something. So if I was like in Greek mythology, I'd be like the hero when I died. Just that's cause that's who I am. And fucking Egyptians believe in like their spirit living on, like shit, all of that reincarnation, all of that. So this one is like you can either die and burn for the rest of your eternity, or you can fucking serve me, worship me, bless me for the rest of your life. Which one would y'all rather do? I mean, of course you'd rather fucking worship and like bless him, but I'm gonna say I'd take neither. Fuck that shit. Like I'd rather do something else. That's it's too much to fucking be it's too much to be fucking doing that 24/7 on repeat. I like different shit. That's why my trip, that's why my mushroom trip like did me so nah, not the mushroom, but the LSD trip did me so fucking dirty because it put me on a loop, a constant loop, a 24/7 loop. It was like I experienced 100 days of me doing the exact same thing in one day. Like so, there's 10 people in here and 5 likes. Go ahead and get them likes up. Really appreciate it if you did. But I don't like things to go the same way every single day. That was the one thing why I couldn't like hold a job because I hated fucking doing the same exact thing every single day. Like as soon as I told them to start, like they started leaving. But the life that I'm living right now is not where I want to be 100%, but I'm getting there. Like I have no complaints about where I'm at in life. Ain't bad. Why you hire Brian Ellinger for? What did he say? threw me off when I see that.
Section 15, Chapter 75. And at the extremities of the earth I beheld 12 gates, open for all the winds, from which they proceed and blow over the earth. 3 of them are open in the front of heaven, 3 in the west, 3 on the right side of heaven, and 3 on the left. The first 3 are those which are towards the east, 3 are towards the north, 3 behind those which are upon the left towards the south, and 3 on the west. From 4 of them proceed winds of blessing and of health, and from 8 proceed winds of punishment, when they are sent to destroy the earth and the heaven above it, all its inhabitants, and all which are in the waters, or on dry land. The first of these winds proceeds from the gate termed the eastern, through the first gate on the east, which inclines southwards. From this goes forth destruction, drought, heat, and perdition. From the second gate, the middle one, proceeds equity. There issue from it rain, fruitfulness, health, and dew. And from the third gate northwards proceed cold and drought. After these proceed the south winds, through 3 principal gates. Through their first gate, which inclines eastwards, proceeds a hot wind. But from the middle gate proceed grateful odor, dew, rain, health, and life. From the third gate, which is westwards, proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction. After these are the winds to the north, which is called the sea. They proceed from 3 gates. The first gate is that which is on the east, inclining southwards. From this proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction. From the middle direct gate proceed rain, dew, life, and health. And from the third gate, which is westwards, inclining towards the south, proceed mist, frost, snow, rain, dew, and blight. After these, in the fourth quarter, are the winds to the west. From the first gate, inclining northwards, proceed dew, rain, frost, cold, snow, and chill. From the middle gate proceed rain, health, and blessing. And from the last gate, which is southwards, proceed drought, destruction, scorching, and perdition.
Well, basically, it's saying
the account of the 12 gates of the 4 quarters of heaven is ended. All
from the bad to the good to the ugly, it comes from heaven. All right. So evil isn't like not Satan's fault. Negativity is not demons and devils' fault. That shit all comes from heaven. It's the creator of all. It wasn't supposed to be down here, but that's what the angels did. They came down and said, we're going to take these secrets and we're going to help mankind evolve. So we're going to give them the good with the bad and let them decide. It was actually the angel. It wasn't God who gave man free will. It was the angels who came down here with the knowledge, the information. Because that gave people a choice whether they want to do good or do bad. When fucking Eve ate from that tree, that was basically free will, wasn't it? But not really, because she wasn't fucking Brian Ellinger keeps getting hidden, so he must be saying some dumb shit. But I forgot what I was talking about.
their laws, all their infliction of punishment, and the health produced by them, have I explained to thee, my son Methuselah. Chapter 76. The first wind is called the eastern, because it is the first. The second is called the south, because the Most High there descends, and frequently there descends he who is blessed forever.
What did he say?
The western wind has the name of diminution, because there...
Usually I'll be on my computer and shit, but as you know, kids be loud and stuff, interrupting, so I'm in the car. But I can't see any negative comments. Usually I would have the option to like hide that comment, so like, what did that person say? I'm curious. I don't know. I don't need to know, but I'm curious.
All the luminaries of heaven are diminished
Did he say
and
something about I was
descend.
going to hell or something?
The fourth wind, which is named the north, is divided into 3 parts, one of which is for the habitation of man, another for seas of water, with valleys, woods, rivers, shady places, and snow, and the third part contains paradise. 7 high mountains I beheld, taller than all the mountains of the earth, from which frost proceeds, while days, seasons, and years depart and pass away. 7 rivers I beheld upon earth, greater than all rivers, one of which takes its course from the west. Into a great sea its water flows. 2 come from the north to the sea, their water flowing into the Erythraean Sea on the east. And with respect to the remaining 4, they take their course in the cavity of the north. 2 to their sea, the Erythraean Sea, and 2 are poured into a great sea, where also it is said there is a desert. 7 great islands I saw in the sea and on the earth, 7 in the great sea. Chapter 77. The names of the sun are these. 1 are Yares, the other Tamas. The moon has 4 names. The first is Asanya, the second Ebla, the third Benes, and the fourth Eri. These are the 2 great luminaries, whose orbs are as the orbs of heaven, and the dimensions of both are equal. In the orb of the sun there is a 7th portion of light, which is added to it from the
I'm pretty
moon.
sure he's still
By
in
measure.
Like, even though like y'all hit him, like he's probably still here. To say that I'm godless, you wouldn't even know the half of it. You're a person who follows. You follow blindly. You have no true faith in your belief. You are one of those people who, when someone is speaking not even against what you believe in, but when someone is questioning what you believe in, you feel some type of way. That just shows you how you're blind. I didn't even know what he said, which is here. Like, like for you to come in here and like to speak and say things like that, you probably should go watch my other videos. Then you get more pissed off. Then understand I don't give a fuck what you think or what you believe in. What he's one of them people. Like if you're a Christian, if that guy is a Christian, right, and he's like calling me godless and stuff like that, tell him, ain't that judging? Ain't the only person in that religion supposed to judge is their God? Like, so you're a sinner, brother. You're going to hell. Like, so, and you probably are experiencing hell on this earth right now. Like, so. You said y'all can barely hear me? Can anybody else? Is that the issue with anybody else? Do I need to speak up? Is that what it is? But I was speaking. Y'all probably can't hear me because I was speaking to the whoever that was sending negative comments. Like so. He probably not even in here. Let's just get back to the book.
It is put in until a 7th portion of the light of the sun is departed. They set, enter into the western gate, circuit by the north, and through the eastern gate go forth over the face of heaven. When the moon rises, it appears in heaven, and the half of a 7th portion of light is all which is in it. In 14 days, the whole of its light is completed. By 3 quintuples, light is put into it, until in 15 days its light is completed, according to the signs of the year. It has 3 quintuples. The moon has the half of a 7th portion. During its diminution on the first day, its light decreases a 14th part. On the second day, it decreases a 13th part. On the third day, a 12th part. On the fourth day, an 11th part. On the 5th day, a 10th part. On the 6th day, a 9th part. On the 7th day, it decreases an 8th part.
People be mad, like,
on the
literally,
8th day,
because the only thing I said negative today is like, well, I ain't really say nothing negative from my perspective, but from someone who's a Christian and like they beliefs is, oh, don't say anything about nothing. Shout out to Mob Nasty coming through, tapping in once again. Like, people gotta understand, like, everybody is not the same. Everybody doesn't come from the same culture, same background, none of that. Everybody don't have the same beliefs, and we are not all supposed to. Would it look like us all following blindly one book with so many imperfections in it that's been tampered with thousands of years? Like, what do I look like following a book that had my ancestors oppressed? Like, the only person who could read the Bible in slavery days was the preacher. And you know what he was reading? The ones where he was telling the slaves, obey your masters. Like, that was the only things he got to preach. He didn't even know how to read, basically. And like, so why would me as a black man, 2022, definitely shout out Cali. I fuck with Cali heavy. Like, but why is me why would I be following a religion blindly that hasn't helped me at all? Like, for somebody to say, "Oh, you wake up every day," we all do, and some people just die. You gonna die one day. Like, shit. He looked like a racist. Like, you gonna die one day. Like, shit. Ain't nobody gonna live in this bitch forever. Who wants to live forever when this is hell? You experience so much negativity on the daily basis. Like, my channel is called Positive Minds Only. Everything I post is with positive intentions. But if you see some of the comments on that in some of the videos, you'll be like, what the fuck? Like, that's because people's, like, they negativity based. And they could think they so positive. They could think their mindset is so good and so perfect, but it's not. Like, and then when I call it out, most of the time I just ignored it or delete it. But some shit, you like, man, what the fuck? Like, people really out there is like negative base. Like, and they don't even understand it. They don't even realize how deep in a hole they are with their mindset. And some of them ain't gonna never escape that hole. Some people would just die being negative, and guess what? When you reincarnate, you're gonna do the same shit. You're gonna start from baby up into wherever you at, and you're gonna do the same fucking thing again. And you will never fucking evolve. Me, on the other hand, like, I'll be out of here. Like, I'm gonna be going to fucking Jupiter, Mars, wherever the fuck I wanna go to next. Cause that's just who I am. Like, I'm a traveler. I love to travel. I'm a what's the I was about to say it, adventurer. That ain't the term. But explorer. I love to explore. I like to go on adventures. Like, shit like that. I don't like being in the same spot. I hate, like I said, I hate loops. I hate just seeing my life like doing the same thing every day. No, nothing changing, nothing good happening, nothing bad happening, nothing exciting happening. Like, that's fucking boring. Like, so that's why I decided to fucking start chasing my dreams, because the life I was living was like, do I want to do this? I'm only like 20. So when I decided I wasn't gonna work and do the same thing I was doing the rest of my life, I was 28. Like, so me being 28, working a 9 to 5, I'm like, do I want to do this and try to retire? Like, at 65, like, that ain't no fun. 5 days out the week I gotta fucking work. Like, that's bullshit. Like, man, like, that's why when I always did have a job, I would always call off whenever I wanted to. It was never a time where a whole month where I worked every single day I was supposed to. I called off at least once or twice. Like, so got fired once out of those 10 years of service. Or, I mean, like, not even 10 years, but I started working in 2007. So from 2007 to 2018, damn, that's a lot of years. Like, 9 years to be exact. Like, while I was working, I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm good. Now I'm doing this, and not just this, but I'm doing other shit. Podcasts, life coaching, like spiritual coach, like all of that. Like, so I'm chasing like my desires. I'm not giving a fuck what nobody think or say. I don't care how you feel. I don't care about your opinions. Like, none of that. Like, your beliefs can't stop me. The things you do can't, like, the words can't stop me. Like, I already know who I am. Like, I already figured it out. I figured life out for me. Like, so there's nothing somebody can do to like trick me out of my spot, unless it's a test that I've never experienced in life, and then like I get caught up. But even then, like, I'm gonna always come back and like keep moving forward, and I ain't gonna ever just fall and be stuck and like stay put in a situation. Like, nah, it's been times where knife knocked me down, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get right back up." Like, I ain't ever just stayed put in a situation because I had a bad, a bad moment. Like, never was the type to something happened to me in my past. Like, I just held on to that. Like, nah, I was always quick. to forgive. I was always quick to let things go. And like that's what kept me going forward. Like I ain't got no hard feelings towards nobody in my life. Like because I've evolved to the point where like that shit was just I already know it was just a test for me. Everything that I went through was just to like help me evolve in life. Like so the things that I experience, good or bad, like I tend to keep a level head no matter what. For the simple fact, like it's just the moment. And I'll have more moments in life. Like that won't be the last moment I have. Like shit. So that's why I said I gotta always it gotta be different. My life always have to be I gotta do something different. Like so I hate fucking just that Monday through Sunday work, go to sleep, eat, sometimes go out, have fun. Like that shit is boring as fuck. Like so for me, 4 years I have been like just living basically, like doing whatever the fuck I please, going wherever I want to go. What does stop me though is my kids going to school. Like so next I'll be like probably thinking about putting them in like homeschool for the simple fact I hate the schools. I ain't gonna say I hate the school system, but I don't like the school system. Like, and not just for Nevada, but I got a son that's in Indiana, and I don't even like his school system like that. Like, so I mean, they're more better than out here in Vegas, cause his school, like, he's in middle school, but they're like, it's kind of like a pipeline of college school. So like, I do like kind of salute that overall. But he be showing me pictures of his lunch, and I'm like, what the fuck is they feeding y'all? Like, damn, they don't have no budget for the food. Like, so, and then life is just crazy. Like, take life to the limit. We have a limit. Exactly. We all got a limited potential to do whatever the fuck we want to do in life. Nobody can stop you but you. You are the only person that's in your way. And of course, your beliefs and what's been programmed in your life that hasn't been like good for you and bad habits. So it's a lot of things that's stopping you. Like, not just, I'm not talking to anybody in particular, but it's a lot of things that's stopping people from like getting their shit together because you got bad habits, you got childhood trauma, you got like shit, negative people around you, negative thoughts always popping up in your head. Like, it's so much shit that's against you to like move forward in life. Like, especially when you got beliefs in religion that's like your parents gave you. You didn't get it. You didn't say, oh, I want to be a well, me, I'm gonna say me. I can't speak for nobody else. When I was born and I like came into record, started thinking for myself, I didn't say, oh, I want to be a Christian. And only reason I did like do the things I did, like get saved and get baptized, is because my Gigi and my grandma was Christian. So I was just trying to be like the good kid. Like so I knew my other siblings wasn't on that, so I was just trying to like make them happy. I was a people pleaser as a child. That's what I was doing because I knew it worked. It was like science, and I was like capitalizing off like people pleasing. Like so, once I got out of that stage, I'm like, fuck people. I don't need to please nobody. I'm the adult now. Like what the people should be trying to please me. The fuck? I didn't evolve to that level like where I used to be that type of individual, and then I evolved to who I am now. Like so now the Kenneth that you see today, I'm telling you, if you see me in 2017, 2018, early 2018, uh, later 2018, that's when I started waking up. But if you see any of my videos on YouTube, like it's not me today. Like that's a whole different individual. Like so, you could change your life, like, but it ain't gonna happen overnight. Like so, and just know, like people like, oh, I don't want to I don't want to work on myself for years to like, I don't want to do a year, but you gonna already spend years of your life doing what you're doing now, and what is that helping you to get to where you want to go in life? Like so, I didn't think I would be on a journey that I'm always working on myself. I thought I like when I first started like realizing I had like things that I need to work on in my life. I thought I'd be done like after the first few things. I'm like, oh, I ain't got nothing else to work out. And then there was always something else that I needed to work on. Like so now I have that realization like every day I wake up is I need to work on something in my life. Like to I need to get better. Like so that's why like I always went by Mr. Perfect because like even when I wasn't like this, I was like trying to be my best self. Like I was always trying to like be the best me that I can be, but I was following people, so that wasn't the case. Now, like, I'm really like living up to my highest potential. Like, I mean, it's still certain things that I can do. Like, I'm still like procrastinating on. Like, it's I still haven't turned it up. Like, literally, I still haven't turned it up. Y'all still haven't seen me like ramp that shit up. Like, cause I'm still procrastinating on things. Like, I'm still like, is things I know I should be doing that I'm like, like I keep not doing it. Like, it's something that I need to work on. It's a few habits that I'm still working on. So once I like fix, or like I said, it's an everlasting journey of fixing myself. So y'all just gonna see me just continue to work on myself and get like better, and, like think better, and like just become more like aware of like just not just me but those around me is too. So books do that. That's why I read a lot of books. That's why I listen to a lot of books. For the simple fact, like it helps me evolve my mindset.
Decreases a seventh part. On the ninth day, it decreases a sixth part. On the 10th day, it decreases a fifth part. On the 11th day, it decreases a fourth part. On the 12th day, it decreases a third part. On the 13th day, it decreases a second part. On the 14th day, it decreases a half of its seventh part. And on the 15th day, the whole remainder of its light is consumed. On stated months, the moon has 29 days. It also has a period of 28 days. Uriel likewise showed me another
That's
regulation
February,
when
ain't it?
light is poured into the moon, how it is poured into it from the sun. All the time that the moon is in progress with its light, it is poured into it in the presence of the sun until its light is in 14 days completed in heaven. And when it is wholly extinguished, its light is consumed in heaven. And on the first day, it is called the new moon. For on that day, light is received into it. It becomes precisely completed on the day that the sun descends into the west, while the moon ascends at night from the east. The moon then
I
shines
guess it's
all the
trying to
night
go in
until the
detail
sun
with like
rises
just how
before
the
it,
moon and
when the
like
moon
the
disappears in
moon
turn
cycles and
before the
stuff is
sun.
working in heaven.
Where light comes to the
But
moon, there
what
again
they
it
got to do
decreases
down here?
until all its light is extinguished, and the days of the moon pass away. Then its orb remains solitary, without light. During 3 months, it affects in 30
Y'all
days
gonna have
each
some fucked
month
up
its
sleep
period,
cycles when you go to heaven.
and during 3 more months, it affects it in 29 days each. These are the times in which it affects its decrease in its first period, and in the first gate, namely in 177 days.
You know what?
And at the time of
As
its
a kid, like this was my biggest fear, like about like kind of like heaven. It was like shout out to Red Square X. I'm a person who love to sleep, right? I love to dream. And I'm like, man, when I get to heaven, I can't sleep. It's gonna be up all day, 24/7. And like, yeah, you're gonna be worshiping God and blessing God. I'm like, that's kind of a nightmare to me because I like to sleep. I like to relax. I'm telling you, I feel like the dream world is more real than this world. Like the dreams I be having, sometimes like spill over into this world. Like so, I have a dream, and like the same thing that happened in real life. So I'm like, this shit is real. Like, and I pay it. I try to pay attention to my dreams, but sometimes I wake up, get on my phone, and that distracts me from remembering my dreams. So I need to work on writing my dreams down as soon as I wake up because I did. It was at a point in time where I did that like 30 days straight. It probably wasn't 30 days straight, but it was probably like 10 days straight where I wrote my dreams down. And then when I went back and read them all, it was like it was kind of lined up. It was all had like a message in it. So I'm like, oh shit, I need to do this more often. But like I be slacking a lot. So like I said, it's things that I need. I know I need to work on, which I am working on, but I can't do everything at once. Like it's levels to it. Like so, as I get better, as I get older and grow, like shit, you're gonna just see me continue to get better with age.
going forth during 3 months, it appears 30 days each, and during 3 more months, it appears 29 days each. In the night, it appears for each 20 days as the face of a man, and in the day as heaven, for it is nothing else except its light.
What
Chapter
about a face of a
78.
woman?
And now, my son Methuselah, I have shown thee everything, and the account of every ordinance of the stars of heaven is finished. He showed me every ordinance respecting these, which takes place at all times and in all seasons, under every influence, in all
If you
years,
haven't hit that
at
like
the
button
arrival
already,
and under the
make
rule
sure
of
you tap
each,
that button.
during every month and every week. He showed me also the decrease of the moon, which is affected in the sixth gate, for in that sixth gate is its light consumed. From this is the beginning of the month, and its decrease is affected in the sixth gate in its period, until 177 days are completed, according to the mode of computation by weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. Its period is less than that of the sun, according to the ordinance of the stars, by 5 days and 1/2 year precisely. When that their visible situation is completed, such is the appearance and likeness of every luminary, which Thiel, the great angel who conducts them, showed to me. Section 16, Chapter
Hopefully
79.
they talking about some more good shit instead of this boring stuff.
In those days Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have showed thee all things, O Enoch, and all things have I revealed to thee. Thou seest the sun, the moon, and those which conduct the stars of heaven, which cause all their operations, seasons, and arrivals to return. In the days of sinners the years shall be shortened, their seed shall be backward in their prolific soil. And everything done on earth shall be subverted, and disappear from its season. The rain shall be restrained, and heaven shall stand still. In those days the fruits of the earth shall be late, and not flourish in their season. And in their season the fruits of the trees shall be withholden. The moon shall change its laws, and not be seen at its proper period. But in those days shall heaven be seen, and barrenness shall take place in the borders of the great chariots in the west. Heaven shall shine more than when illuminated by the orders of light, while many chiefs among the stars of authority shall err, perverting their ways and works. Those shall not appear in their season who command them, and all the classes of the stars shall be shut up against sinners. The thoughts of those who dwell on earth shall transgress within them, and they shall be perverted in all their ways. They shall transgress and think themselves gods, while evil shall be multiplied among them. And punishment shall come upon them, so that all of them shall be destroyed. So that all of them shall be destroyed.
He repeated that shit.
Chapter
He meant
80.
that.
He said, O Enoch, look on the book which heaven has gradually dropped down, and reading that which is written in it, understand every part of it. Then I looked on all which was written, and understood all, reading the book and everything written in it, all the works of man, and of
How
all the
long is this
children of
book?
flesh upon earth during the generations of the world. Immediately after, I blessed the Lord, the King of glory, who has thus forever formed the whole workmanship of the world. And I glorified the Lord on account of his long suffering and blessing towards the children of the
Who long
world.
suffering?
At that time I said,
He said he blessed the Lord for his long suffering. Like, is they talking about God? Like, or am I like just overthinking some shit? Did y'all hear that? Like, who is they talking about long suffering?
Blessed is the man who shall die righteous and good, against whom no catalogue of crime has been written, and with whom iniquity is not found. Then those three holy ones caused me to approach, and placed me on the earth, before the door of my house. And they said unto me, Explain everything to Methuselah thy son, and inform all thy children, that no flesh shall be justified before the Lord, for he is their creator. During 1 year we will leave thee with thy children, until thou shalt again recover thy strength, that thou mayest
making that
instruct thy
statement real
family.
good.
Write these things, and explain them to
Patience
all
is a
thy children.
motherfucker.
But
Can't
in
lie.
another year they shall take thee from the midst of them, and thy
But
heart shall be...
God don't go off time. Patience is nothing to a God, because like our time and their time is like, I mean, God, yeah, it's different. Like, so what's instant to him could take years for us. So is he really like, or do he have to be patient about anything? Like what he wants, he can get it like that. Like so.
Strengthened. For the elect shall point out righteousness to the elect. The righteous with the righteous shall rejoice, congratulating each other. But sinners with sinners shall die. And the perverted with the perverted shall be drowned. Those likewise who act righteously shall die on account of the works of man, and shall be gathered together on account of the works of the wicked.
Exactly.
In
See,
those
like so.
days they finished
You ain't
conversing
gotta
with
be
me,
patient for shit,
and I
cause we all
returned to
be
my
dead.
fellow
Like
men,
shit, waiting on him.
blessing the Lord of worlds.
Once
Bless
again, 1,000 years, like reincarnation, we all come back. Like 1,000 years for us too. Like overall, to like how long we been coming back, probably ain't shit either. You just can't remember it because this is what Earth is. It makes you forget. It's that dense where you don't remember shit. You can't remember nothing. So with all this propaganda and bullshit that's coming is leading people the wrong way. Like most people, that's why they stay asleep. Like they ain't got no choice. Like what's around them, they surroundings. You once you change your environment, you can change your life. Like so, it happened to me.
Blessing the Lord of worlds. Chapter 81. Now, my son Methuselah, all these things I speak
Hey,
unto
shout out
thee,
to
and
Edward
write for
Marks.
thee. To thee I have revealed all, and have given thee books of everything. Preserve, my son Methuselah, the books written by thy father, that thou mayest transmit them to future generations. Wisdom have I given to thee, to thy children, and thy posterity, that they may transmit to their children for generations forever this wisdom in their thoughts,
You know what it
and that
was?
those who comprehend it may.
You know what it was? The bad people, the quote unquote bad people in God's eyes, were the 200 angels who came down here and stole the wisdom and gave it to the women that of course they were sleeping with, like so, and their kids, which was the giants. So God, he didn't want his people to have that knowledge. That's why he only used certain people like Abraham, Isaac, Joseph, and he only came through like dreams and like talking through a burning bush. Like so he never wanted all his people to have knowledge and information. He didn't even want the people he was choosing to have that. He was just making them do what he wanted them to do. Like so, he was basically using them, and the bad guys, that was the wise people. They was the one who had all the like the wisdom and the knowledge because that's what the angels brought down and gave to them. Like so, King Solomon, he was different because when God asked him what did he want in the world, he said only thing I want is wisdom, and God blessed him with everything. Like so, that's why I fuck with King Solomon.
Not slumber, but hear with their ears, that they may learn this wisdom, and be deemed worthy of
King
eating
Solomon
this
let his
wholesome
ego get
food.
him fucked up
Blessed
too.
are all the righteous, blessed all who walk in the paths of righteousness, in whom no crime is found, as in sinners, when all their days are numbered. With respect to the progress of the sun in heaven, it enters and goes out of each gate for 30 days, with the leaders of the 1,000 classes of the stars, with 4 which are added, and appertain to the 4 quarters of the year, which conduct them and accompany them at 4 periods. Respecting these, men greatly err, and do not compute them in the computation of every age. For they greatly err respecting them, nor do men know accurately that they are in the computation of the year. But indeed these are marked down forever, 1 in the first gate, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth, so that the year is completed in 364 days. Truly has been stated, and accurately has been computed that which is marked down. For the luminaries, the months, the fixed periods, the years, and the days, Uriel has explained to me, and communicated to me, whom the Lord of all creation on my account commanded, according to the might of heaven, and the power which it possesses, both by night and by day, to explain the laws of light to man, of the sun, moon, and stars, and of all the powers of heaven, which are turned with their respective orbs. This is the ordinance of the stars, which set in their places, in their seasons, in their periods, in their days, and in their months. These are the names of those who conduct them, who watch and enter in their seasons, according to their ordinance, in their periods, in their months, in the times of their influence, and in their stations. 4 conductors of them first enter, who separate the 4 quarters of the year. After these, 12 conductors of their classes, who separate the months of the year into 364 days, with the leaders of
So what
1,000,
man
who
made it 5?
distinguish between the days.
You know, who had the fucking nerve to make it 365 days and sometimes 366? Hmm, that motherfucker should be in hell, right? He, God said 364.
Days, as well as between the 4 additional ones,
But this is heaven,
which as
right? This ain't
conductors
really earth.
divide the 4
We ain't talking
quarters
about
of the
earth.
year.
I don't know.
These leaders of 1,000 are in the midst of the conductors, and the conductors are added, each behind his station, and their conductors make the separation. These are the names of the conductors, who separate the 4 quarters of the year, who are appointed over them: Melchel, Elamelech, Meliel, and Nero. And the names of those who conduct them are Adnarel, Jesusel, and Jelumiel. These are the 3 who follow after the conductors of the classes of stars, each following after the 3 conductors of the classes, which themselves follow after those conductors of the stations, who divide the 4 quarters of the year. In the first part of the year rises and rules Melchias, who is named Tamani, and Zahe. All the days of his influence, during which he rules, are 91 days. And these are the signs of the days which are seen upon earth. In the days of his influence there is perspiration, heat, and trouble. All the trees become fruitful. The leaf of every tree comes forth. The corn is reaped. The rose and every species of flowers blossoms in the field, and the trees of winter are dried up. These are the names of the conductors who are under them: Barkel, Zelzabel, and another additional conductor of 1,000 is named Heloyalef, the days of whose influence have been completed. The other conductor next after them is Elimelech, whose name they call the splendid Zahe. All the days of his light are 91 days. These are the signs of the days upon earth, heat and drought, while the trees bring forth their fruits, warmed and concocted, and give their fruits to dry. The flocks follow and yean. All the fruits of the earth are collected, with everything in the fields, and the vines are trodden. This takes place during the time of his influence. These are their names and orders, and the names of the conductors who are under them, of those who are chiefs of 1,000: Gedaliah, Heel, Heel. And the name of the additional leader of 1,000 is Asphael. The days of his influence have been completed. Chapter 82. And now I have shown thee, my son Methuselah, every sight which I saw prior to thy birth. I will relate another vision, which I saw before I was married. They resemble each other. The first was when I was learning a book, and the other before I was married to thy mother. I saw a potent vision, and on account of these things besought the Lord. I was lying down in the house of my grandfather, Malalel, when I saw in a vision heaven purifying and snatched away. And falling to the earth, I saw likewise the earth absorbed by a great abyss, the mountains suspended over the mountains. Hills were sinking upon hills. Lofty trees were gliding off from their trunks and were in the act of being projected. And
Yo, you know what? Now when I think about it, I knew I was a fallen angel, the one like one of the 200 that fell from heaven, and how they was lusting after women and shit. I remember I used to be in church, right? And the church would be going on, and my head would be thinking about sex. Like I'd be like thinking about some freaky shit. Like instead of being focused in church. Like that's how I should have known. Like something was different from me because couldn't stay focused, even when I tried to pray. Like nasty thoughts would be popping up in my head. So I'm like, what the fuck? This shit ain't working. Like I was asking God and Jesus to forgive me, like cleanse me of that shit, but it never worked. Like so, I'm like, man, they must don't hear me. Must not be a bad thing that this is going on. Like so, I'm like, fuck it, shit. I ain't never tried to like change it because I mean I couldn't. I'm aware, yes, you can. I could control it, I didn't know I can control my thoughts back then. Like, so the thoughts that would pop up in my head would run rampant. Like, the most of those thoughts was negative because guess what? That's the world was programming in. So, like, I had a lot of negative thoughts that I was thinking. Like, and that's why my life was so bad because that's what I was manifesting into it. Like, the negative thoughts that was daily rampant in my mind that I was not standing guard at the door of my mind back then. Like, so now, like, a negative thought come in, like, I, it's I'm stopping it right at the door. It can't even get in my mind. Can't let it manifest. Like, so now and then it don't even be that many I don't have too many negative thoughts that come in my mind like that anyway, or come to my mind. Like, so they don't come in, they come to. Shout out to House coming up. I mean pulling up. House, where you from? Where you from, House? I don't even be giving people enough time to respond.
Sinking into the abyss. Being alarmed at these things, my voice faltered. I cried out and said, "The earth is destroyed." Then my grandfather, Malalo, raised me up and said to me, "Why dost thou thus cry out, my son? And
We
wherefore
got a
dost
bunch of
thou
people from
thus
Cali.
lament?" I
I fuck
related
with
to him
Cali
the
heavy.
whole
That's why
vision which I
we got
had
a
seen.
sister out there.
He said to me,
Like she from
"Confirmed
Cali.
is that which thou hast seen, my son, and potent the vision of thy
I
dream
was just out in
respecting
Cali
every
last month
secret sin of the
in
earth.
Hollywood. Actually,
Its substance shall sink into the abyss, and a great
I never moved
destruction
there
shall
though.
take place.
No, let
Now,
me take that back. I wouldn't move to L.A. I moved to Cali, but not L.A. Like so, it's two different places. So I'm Vegas is cool out here, but a bunch of people from Cali has been moving out here. Like so, I seen a meme today, and it said like, "I hope Vegas gets so hot that the people from Cali moving back to Cali." Have you seen the movie? No, I seen it, but it's been a minute since I seen it though. I can't remember the last time I seen it, and I don't even remember seeing it like straight through. Still in San Diego. Yeah, so San Diego, like I meant to, I was telling the story about San Diego the other day, but I got distracted. But I'm like San Diego, the area I was in with boot camp, Marine boot camp at, like it was so clean. The air was so clean. Like me being from Gary, Indiana, we don't got restaurants where you can eat outside without in the summertime because mosquitoes will tear your ass up. In San Diego, like I was able to eat outside for the first time in my life without worrying about like flies and like beat like whatever shit just bothering me. Like so I'm like, man, this is a dope experience. Like so I fuck with San Diego.
my son, rise up and beseech the Lord of glory, for thou art faithful, that a remnant may be left upon earth, and that he would not wholly destroy it. My son, all this calamity upon earth comes down from heaven. Upon earth shall there be a
All
great
that bullshit come
destruction.
from heaven.
Then I arose and prayed and entreated and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world, explaining everything to my son Methuselah.
Like the
When I went out
Methuselah
below,
animated
and
movie.
looking up to heaven, beheld the sun proceeding
I'm
from
gonna
the
watch that.
east, the
I
moon
had what
descending to
I
the
remember I
west,
said I
a
watched
few scattered.
the yogurt when yogurt ruled the world. I watched that. I started watching Spartacus. Like so Spartacus, that show crazy. Like I probably to know like I probably was in those times, like but not like going through it. He was going through. What's his name? Thrashes. Like, bro, that dude. I'm over here
Stars
did a bit
and
of years,
everything
so I
which
can't
God
really
has
talk.
known from the beginning.
That's the only nigga
I
name I know in that
blessed
show.
the Lord of judgment and
Osiris. I think
magnified
that's the
him,
other dude name.
because he hath sent forth the sun from the chambers of the east, that ascending and rising in the face of heaven, it might spring up and
Yeah, like
pursue
I'm
the
still a
path
couple
which
episodes
has
in, like,
been
but it's
pointed
good
out
so
to
far.
it. Chapter 83. I lifted up my hands in righteousness and blessed the
Yep,
Holy
so
and the
follow the
Great
signs,
One.
bro.
I
Follow the
spoke with the
signs.
breath of my mouth and with a tongue of flesh, which God has formed
That's how
for
I
all
am.
the
That's
sons of mortal men.
those are the signs you follow. When you hear something repeatedly, like that's what you like go towards. Like me, like Spartacus kept popping up, but I don't think I was hearing somebody talk about it until like that last time on my live. But I was seeing it like just Spartacus, and then I was hearing 300. So like it just made me go follow the signs. So I follow all the signs. Some signs lead to I'm like, what the fuck? It led me nowhere. But some signs lead me to. I mean, I can't say it led me nowhere because look where I'm at now. Like I still follow the signs to this day. Like so. Exactly, I follow them synchronicities. It's like driving on the highway and you seeing like the signs. Like if you don't pay attention to those signs, you can crash. Like so, that's life. Shout out to Snuggles 668. Like you can crash if you don't pay attention to the signs in life. So most people don't, and that's why most people don't even drive spiritually. They don't even get on the highway and go anywhere. They just stay put where they at. Like you seem like you would be a good candidate for transhuman. That's a new word. I'm learning what that means. Transhumanism, humanism. Tell me what that means, cause I don't. I mean, I can research it right now. You follow the ramp of life. Is a philosophical and intellectual movement which advocates for the enhancement of the human condition by developing and making widely available. Huh? Never heard of that, but just reading it off the back, like, yeah, that sounds like I don't know. I just never thought about it because I never heard of it.
That with it they may speak, giving them breath, a mouth, and a tongue to converse with. Blessed art thou, O Lord, the King, great and powerful in thy greatness,
But
Lord of all the
I
creatures.
do believe people need to fucking yeah. I just read like I do believe people need to advance, like evolve. People shouldn't stay stuck, and the people who are stuck. I mean, like I said, I be saying why like the elites be like saying let's wipe out half these motherfuckers because people are stuck. I wouldn't do that, but I see why they saying like people are like they're wasting air, they're wasting energy, they're wasting space, like because they would never evolve. Like so, I'm not saying I would wipe out people if I got into a certain position, but I'm like I understand why they do that or think that. That can really. So yeah, I just now you're bringing making me aware of something I never knew. Like that's why I get on here, like just to learn, not just to like. I mean, well, just to learn. Basically, that's what the book is, so I can learn something and every day. If you don't learn something new every single day, what are you alive for? Basically, like you should be learning something new every single day. There should be not a day where you don't learn something. Ancient mind believe that we don't can't access all our abilities. Mm. See, they are like, and that's like the fountain of like forgetfulness that people drink of when they forget when they come back to Earth. Like it all comes like from some type of forgetfulness. Like I took that out. Like I was able to wake up. I was able to like. I didn't drink too much of the punch, the juice. Like so, I woke up. And I'm like, now I'm trying to like help other people. But most people y'all woke. Like y'all already woke, so it ain't like nobody that's. It's probably that negative person who was commenting early was probably still asleep. But overall, like the people who come to my lives are positive thinking people. So I definitely unlock my shit. But overall, to know like I still got shit to unlock. Like it's still like I ain't even tapped in 100%.
Of heaven, King of kings, God of the whole world, whose reign, whose kingdom, and whose majesty endure forever and ever. From generation to generation shall thy dominion exist. All the heavens are thy throne forever, and all the earth thy footstool forever and ever. For thou hast made them, and over all thou reignest. No act whatsoever exceeds thy power. With thee wisdom is unchangeable, nor from thy throne and from thy presence is it ever averted. Thou knowest all things, seest and hearest them, nor is anything concealed from thee. For thou
All to the
perceivest
love of
all
light.
things.
Exactly.
The angels of
That's what Jesus was doing. That's why he was able to go up into the mountains 40 days and 40 nights because he was eating off the light. Like, he didn't need food. Like, so, like, bro, I don't eat that much a day. Like, I eat once out the day. If I eat twice, I'm like, that's pushing it. I can't even imagine eating 3 times a day at my age. Fuck no. Like, but I'd rather just eat once, probably eat like some snacks. Overall, if I can, my perfect day of eating, I'll eat fruit, oranges, mandarins throughout the day. Uh, for dinner, I'll probably eat like a steak, uh, chicken wings sometimes. I'll do salad a lot. I'll definitely eat a lot of salads. Like, so, if you didn't learn anything, you wasted a day. Was my favorite. Hey, so shout out to grandmother, the aunt. So she probably here with us today since you mentioned her. Well, she of course she is. Like, gotta learn something new. If you don't, stuck.
thy heavens have transgressed, and on mortal flesh shall thy wrath remain until the day of the great judgment. Now then, O God, Lord and mighty King, I entreat thee and beseech thee to grant my prayer, that a posterity may be left to me on earth, and that the whole human race may not perish,
Yep.
that
So,
the earth may not
and
be
the
left
ether is here. We
destitute,
just can't
and
see it.
destruction take place forever. O my Lord, let the race perish from off the earth, which has
See, all different beliefs have different like terms, but it's the same thing. Like, ether is considered like the astral realm for me. Like, that's what I would go like call it, or like the spirit world. Like, but this religion would call it heaven or hell, or well, no, because he said that like anybody who's a Christian, when you die, you don't straight get judged. You wait. You gotta wait till the world is over to be judged. So basically, you waiting. I don't know where the fuck you at. I mean, well, I guess you still here, like, cause that's what my ancestors like. I be talking to them. They be here with me. So overall, like, y'all waiting for the end, but it don't work like that because reincarnation comes into to the play. Like, so, I guess when there is an end, like overall, when there like this shit is done for everybody, every like thing, and it's like in that's eternity. That's eons, and like can't even imagine how far away that is. Like, so when it's time for that to be like happen, there's still no hell or heaven. Like, that's like this shit just gonna be it's just gonna start over. Like, so we gonna all have to start back from like being grass and like just seeds and atoms, and then just evolving out of that. Like, cause that's what this shit is about. Like, this is all really just a game. Of the ether's like the glue material, the raw material that binds. See, you're more of a scientist, I see. Did you know uranium is the only element that transmits? I didn't know that. Like, I'm not a like you went to school for this, or you like study this on your own. Like, I'm may be considered an alchemist, but not. I don't mess with. I'm not into alchemy. I was good in science, but like I just that's the school I stopped learning. Like, but they be onto stuff too. Like, so that's why they the smartest. That's why it's the scientists who really truly run this world. It be the scientists say like we need to get rid of half these motherfuckers who dead already. All independent researchers. Oh shit, that's like that says a lot. Like, cause I'd have never expected. I was thinking you was in college. Like, you went to college at least. Like, so. Hey, I'm a college dropout. I dropped out like 5 times. So like, hey, at least I try, right? But I know my son's mom, like, she about to graduate, like, so shout out to her, like, getting that bachelor's. I couldn't even imagine doing that shit. Like, I got kind of like I got ADHD, so I can't just sit in the class and just focus. My mind would be fucking everywhere. Like even if I was at home, like I just went to school for basically hacking. Like so my mind, like for the first 3 months, right, I was like focused in there every single day, like paying attention, like basically like learning every day. But like after that, it seemed like after that 3 months was over, like I started like not showing up, like just coming in, like not paying, like because it was at home, I was on it from home, like so I just turned my screen off and I just be smoking. Like so, but I graduated. I got made it to the end, so that's the only part that matters. Like I actually made it to the end. Like, but it was like it wasn't no graduation thing. Like it was like just me learning how to hack and shit. So let me read some of these comments. Tell 3 times. Science is the new major religion. That's a fact. Like so, but I was listening to Daylight, the battle rapper today. He was on live and he was just talking about how stuff like ADHD was created through vaccinations and stuff. Like so, I'm like, hey, learn something new like through that. Like, but I kind of I didn't know for sure. I just knew a lot of black people had it, but white people do have it too. So it's not like I'm telling you, it ain't just something against black people. Black people ain't been just the only slaves. It's been white people that was slaves. It's been Chinese that was slaves. It's been It's been all type of slaves. But you know where it did start from? The Masons. You know who? Not the Masons. Fuck. Why I say the Masons? It started from what is they fucking names? Why are they trying to escape like? Why are they trying to stop me from saying it? It was black people. I'm gonna just say that it was black people who invaded Spain and like they gave them knowledge, but they also like ruled over like Spain for like 800 years or something. Like what is they fucking names? And people consider me one of them. Like I'm not one of them. Like a Moor, the Moors. The Moors were the first people who like started slavery. Like and they came from like Africa and it was like enslaving people and shit. But they wasn't just enslaving them like out of like I don't know if they took it to the like level of what like white people did to black people, but they was the first ones like who was invading shit. But they came like they was giving knowledge. That's where all yeah, we got you house Moors. Like we that's where they got all the knowledge from. That's why they got the information to go invade Egypt because the Moors are like letting them know like, hey, it's rich, like it's abundance. So fucking Julius Caesar went invaded Alexander the Great went and invaded like, and I'm telling you, the people who went invaded, they was low key had black souls, so they went back home and like they just remembered to go back home. Like they ain't had nothing programming them like back in the day. Like you can't probably it probably was still that veil of forgiveness, but it wasn't that strong. So I'm pretty sure it's easier for people to wake up back then. But then again, they still had propaganda. They still had motherfuckers ruling this bitch and like choosing who get the knowledge. So me, I'm just one of those people who exposes knowledge. So y'all good. Y'all don't have to go like to no fancy school or like go find. I mean, you could always go do your own research, but I'm like a channel to like the spirituality part. Like I ain't no scientist. I can't like House. He got that down pat. Like shit. When once YouTube started letting people like us have conversations on live with other people, y'all be on y'all YouTube, I'll be on my YouTube, and we can broadcast together. Like then we'll have better conversations. But right now it's just me. So in these books.
Offended thee, but a righteous and upright race establish for a posterity forever. Hide
Exactly.
not thy face, O
Exactly.
Lord, from
Like
the prayer
that's why
of
they
thy
know that because they knew that's what Kemet, ancient. That's Egypt. They had the information. And you know who gave them that information? Tahuti, which is quote unquote Thoth. So, and he came from Atlantis. Like so, it's crazy how this shit is and how history is, and like only a few people only study history, and like most black people they only go back to slavery and like they think that's where history starts. Like they know they think where their history starts was our ancestors was captured and so came to America. That's what most black people that I know. That's what they think their history starts at when they came to America. Me, I know like just off my past lives, I was here in Egypt. I was here in Rome, like ancient Rome, ancient Greece. Like I was France, China. Like I've been everywhere. Like so, I'm a true travel. That's why I like to travel today. Like that's why I hate staying put. Like I have to go someplace. Like I don't know. It's just that. Like so, God of thought. Yeah. So hey, let's continue to listen to this book.
Servant. Section 17, Chapter 84. After this I saw another dream, and explained it all to thee, my son.
All just having
Enoch
dreams, right?
arose and said to his son Methuselah, To thee, my son,
Fuck,
will
you
I
ain't even
speak.
interpret your
Hear
dream
my
wrong,
word,
Enoch.
and incline thine ear to the visionary dream of thy father. Before I married thy mother, Edna, I saw a vision on my bed. And behold, a cow sprung forth from the earth, and this cow was white. Afterwards, a female heifer sprung forth, and with it another heifer. One of them was black, and one was red. The black heifer then struck the red one, and pursued it over the earth.
Heifer, I know.
From
Is
that
the
period,
heifer.
I could see nothing more of the red heifer, but the black one increased in bulk, and a female heifer came with him. After this, I saw that many cows proceeded forth, resembling him, and following after him. The first female young one also went out in the presence of the first cow, and sought the red heifer, but found him not. And she lamented with a great lamentation while she was seeking him. Then I looked until that first cow came to her, from which time she became silent, and ceased to lament. Afterwards she calved another white cow, and again calved many cows and black heifers.
Sure.
In my sleep also I perceived a white bull, which in like manner grew, and became a large white bull. After him many white cows came forth, resembling him, and they began to calve many other white cows, which resembled them, and followed each other. Chapter 85. Again I looked attentively while sleeping, and surveyed heaven above. And behold, a single star fell from heaven, which being raised up ate and fed among those cows. After that I perceived other large and black cows, and behold, all of them changed their stalls and pastures, while their young began to lament one with another. Again I looked in my vision and surveyed heaven, when behold, I saw many stars which descended and projected themselves from heaven to where the first star was, into the midst of those young ones, while the cows were with them, feeding in the midst of them. I looked at and observed them, when behold, they all acted after the manner of horses, and began to approach the young cows, all of whom became pregnant, and brought forth elephants, camels, and asses. At these all the cows were alarmed and terrified, when they began biting with their teeth, swallowing, and striking with their horns. They began also to devour the cows, and behold, all the children of the earth trembled, shook with terror at them, and suddenly fled away. Chapter 86. Again I perceived them, when they began to strike and to swallow each other, and the earth cried out. Then I raised my eyes a second time towards heaven, and saw in a vision that, behold, there came forth from heaven, as it were, the likeness of white men. One came forth from thence, and 3 with him. Those 3, who came forth last, seized me by my hand, and raising me up from the generations of the earth, elevated me to a high station. Then they showed me a lofty tower on the earth, while every hill became diminished. And they said, Remain here, until thou perceivest what shall come upon those elephants, camels, and asses, upon the stars, and upon all the cows. Chapter 87. Then I looked at that one of the 4 white men who came forth first. He seized the first star which fell down from heaven, and binding it in hand and foot, he cast it into a valley narrow, deep, stupendous, and gloomy. Then one of them drew his sword, and gave it to the elephants, camels, and asses, who began to strike each other. And the whole earth shook on account of them. And when I looked in the vision, Behold, one of those four angels who came forth, hurled from heaven, collected together, and took all the great stars, whose form partly resembled that of horses, and binding them all hand and foot, cast them into the cavities of the earth. Chapter 88. Then one of those four went to the white cows and taught them a mystery.
It's like
While the cow was
it's the angels who do God all dirty work, do his dirty work. It's the angels who come to talk to man. It's like he probably was an alien. That's why he got took away. He was a gray. It's a race of aliens called the Greys. It's the reptilians. The it's a bunch of them. Like I come from Arcturian. Like so, some people are Pleiadians. It's a bunch of them. Like so, angels is like they do all the dirty work for God. Like so, God don't even deal with humans. Like he don't deal with humans at all. Even if you was to die and go to heaven, you'll still never see God. But you gotta worship Him all day. The man's murder at the creatures. They see like and like that. If they mass murders like that, you know how like I mean we know how angels is. Like we know how they get down. Like it ain't no secret. Like they the ones who be they guard the throne. Like what they guarding the throne for? They don't even sleep. Angels don't sleep 24/7 or whatever time they go off on. It's they watching the throne. Why do you need to be watching the throne for? Like what what's going on? Who y'all under attack from? Like who's out there that you like ready to go for? Like so and he got an infinite army like of angels. Why why I gotta be like that? Like what's so bad? But you never know. I'm telling you, there's more than one just race out there. Like it be galactical races. I mean wars out there that be going on. Like in history, like predates all of this bullshit. There's been like galactical wars and shit. Like how Mars, it used to be man. I mean, I ain't even gonna say man, but it used to be. That's why they. Why you think they call them Martians? Like it really was Martians up there, and it was a galactic war, and that shit got wiped out. So to say like they still like some is still underground, but I'm not for sure. But hey, I'll be tapping into all type of
trembling,
shit.
it was born and became a man and fabricated for himself a large ship. In this he dwelt,
He did.
and three cows dwelt with him
He
in
been
that ship
abandoned.
which covered
Y'all,
them.
God been said, "Fuck this shit. I'm out." He forgot about Noah when Noah was in the middle of the ocean. Like he was already on the whim of like just forgetting about this shit. But he was like, "Oh, I still got one person out there." The demiurge. Yeah. So like this guy is like man, he's forgetful. He he got he watching his back from somebody. I don't know. Like shit, is he afraid of the devil? Like Lucifer coming back? Is he afraid of the angels like finding their way back and like just taking over like White House down or some shit? What if somebody created a movie about like heaven like being under attack? That'd be a dope movie. Like, cause the Greeks and them they do it all the time, right? Like so, and fucking hell yeah, that'd be a dope ass movie. I want to see like how God would be at war like with like someone who's just got just as much power as him. Like even though Satan probably don't, but there's something out there that's as soon as I said that the light cut off. Like so that means I'm on to something. Like but soon I think there's something out there like that guy like, yeah, I need to watch my back on this shit. You never know how that shit gonna go. So oh shit. I seen like one episode of Supernatural because they did it around my past life. Like it was based around my last past life. So I watched the episode. I didn't know that. Like, see, I'm like just going off the like just thinking in my head like, oh shit, like God watching this. So of course I'm not the only person who thought these thoughts. Like so, everything like everything what's the term? There's nothing new under the sun. Like, which means thoughts, ideas, creations. There's nothing new under this motherfucking sun. Like, so everything has already been thought of, and like everything has already been figured out. There's a solution for every problem in life. Literally, there's a solution for everything because it's already been figured out. Like, so I have that understanding. Like, so now I gotta check out Supernatural. Like, so my wife, she's watched it, but I haven't. Like, I haven't watched Supernatural. I only, like I said, only seen one episode.
Again, I lifted up my eyes towards heaven and saw a lofty roof. Above it were 7 cataracts, which poured forth on a certain village much water. Again I looked, and behold, there were fountains open on the earth in that large village. The water began to boil up and rose over the earth, so that the village was not
What's that?
seen, while its whole
What's the
soil
news
was
for?
covered with
Is
water.
that an episode on Supernatural?
Much water was over it, darkness and clouds. Then I surveyed the height of this water, and it was elevated above the village. It flowed over the village and stood higher than the earth. Then all the cows which were collected there while I looked on them were drowned, swallowed up, and destroyed in the water. But the ship floated above it. All the
Also, like,
cows,
is
the elephants, the
Enoch is
camels.
also Enoch's seeing, like, cause Enoch is already gone by this time. Like, so he's, but no, he's having a dream about this. But it's the future of when Noah, his great grandson, is going, like, be going through this. Like, so I guess his dreams was coming true, but it happened like hundreds of years later. Like, so, but Noah did call out to Enoch, and like when Enoch was passed away, he came back down to talk to him. Like, so
The asses were drowned on the earth, and all cattle. Nor could I perceive them. Neither were they able to get out, but perished and sunk
so why
into the
Enoch
deep.
didn't go to God like, hey, you forgot my great grandson out there. You forgot he was out there after you done flooded the earth. Cause God don't give a fuck about that. Like, you can't go to God like up close. Sam indeed. Oh, like, so I might have to check that out. Like, cause I like shows like that. I just have to like get the I don't know. It got to be something like I got to see the signs. Like, so.
Again I looked in the vision until those cataracts from that lofty roof were removed, and the fountains of the earth became equalized, while other depths were opened, into which the water began to descend, until the dry ground appeared. The ship remained on the earth. The darkness receded, and it became light.
Is that in the, like?
Then
Is
the
that
white
talked about in that
cow,
show?
which became a man, went out of the ship, and the 3 cows with him. One of the 3 cows was white, resembling that cow. One of them was red as blood, and one of them was black. And the white cow left them. Then began wild beasts and birds to bring forth. Of all these different kinds assembled together, lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, wild boars, foxes, rabbits, and the hanzar, the sisset, the avist, kites, and funkas, and ravens. Then a white cow was born in the midst of them, and they began to bite each other, when the white cow which was born in the midst of them brought forth a wild ass and a white cow at the same time, and after that many wild asses. Then the white cow which was born brought forth a black wild sow and a white sheep. That wild sow also brought forth many swine, and that sheep brought forth 12 sheep. When those 12 sheep grew up, they delivered one of them to the asses.
Okay, I
Again, those
might have to
asses
check
delivered
out.
that sheep to the
See if it's
wolves,
on Audible
and
or
he
something.
grew up in the midst of them. Then the Lord brought the
Well,
11 other sheep, that they might dwell and feed with him in the midst of the wolves. They multiplied, and there was an abundance of pasture for them. But the wolves began to frighten and oppress them, while they destroyed their young ones, and they left their young in torrents of deep water. Now the sheep began to cry out on account of their young, and fled for refuge to their Lord. One, however, which was saved, escaped, and went away to the wild asses. I beheld the sheep moaning, crying and petitioning their Lord with all their might, until the Lord of the sheep descended at their voice from his lofty habitation, went to them, and inspected them. He called to that sheep which had secretly stolen away from the wolves, and told him to make the wolves understand that they were not to touch the sheep. Then that sheep went to the wolves with the word of the Lord, when another met him, and proceeded with him. Both of them together entered the dwelling of the wolves, and conversing with them made them understand that from thenceforwards they were not to touch the sheep. Afterwards I perceived the wolves greatly prevailing over the sheep with their whole force. The sheep cried out, and their Lord came to them. He began to strike the wolves, who commenced a grievous lamentation. But the sheep were silent, nor from that time did they cry out. I then looked at them, until they departed from the
I
wolves.
used to read
The
Revelation a
eyes
lot
of the
too.
wolves were
Like I don't
blind,
know why that
who
was
went
just
out
seemed
and
more
followed them
interesting to
with
me
all their
than all the
might.
other ones.
But the Lord of the sheep proceeded with them, and conducted them. All his sheep followed him.
I'm like, shit.
His
I hope I
countenance
ain't here
was
when that shit
terrific
happen.
and splendid, and glorious was his aspect. Yet the wolves began to follow the sheep, until they overtook them in a certain lake of water. Then that lake became divided, the water standing up on both sides before their face.
When them
And while
seven
their
trumpets go
Lord was
off, you know
conducting
it's a
them,
wrap. And
he
you ain't
placed
disappeared
himself
by that
between
time.
them and the wolves.
Might as well
The
just
wolves, however, perceived not the sheep,
start
but went
worshiping
into the
Lucifer.
midst of the
Shit, it's
lake,
gonna be too
following
late
them,
then.
and running
Stuck on
after
this
them
bitch.
into the lake of water. But when they saw the Lord of the sheep, they turned to fly from before his face. Then the water of the lake returned, and that suddenly, according to its nature. It became full, and was raised up until it covered the wolves. And I saw
See,
that
I need
all
to
of them which had
start
followed the
checking out more
sheep
comics.
perished
There's a lot of
and were
stuff that's in
drowned.
there that they probably be
But the
hiding
sheep
information in
passed
there.
over this water, proceeding to a wilderness, which was without both water and grass. And they began to open
Haven't
their
gave this
eyes
video a
and
thumbs
to
up
see.
already? Nothing to hit
Then I
that
beheld
button.
the
I
Lord
would
of the
really
sheep
appreciate it
inspecting
if you
them,
do.
and giving them water and grass. The sheep already mentioned was proceeding with them and conducting them. And when he had ascended the top of a lofty rock, the Lord of the sheep sent him to them. Afterwards I perceived their Lord standing before
I,
them with an aspect
I haven't.
terrific and
Yeah, I gotta
severe.
check that out.
And when they all beheld him, they were
The comics,
frightened at his countenance.
the movies be like just having like certain stories and shit. Like you don't really tap into like the other shit, like the parallel universe type shit like that. Like that's what I'd be interested in because that's what I'm interested in real life. Like so. Alright, so I might have to start. Like I said, I'm gonna start getting into comics too. Like, so I got children, so who might be well, my son. My older son, he probably not into comics, but my younger son, he probably be into comics. So I'm gonna start like copping him some like him baseball card, not just baseball cards, but like sports cards like that. Like I'm gonna start like doing things like that with my son. Like so to teach him like how to hold on to like assets and things like that because those are things like that could be worth a lot of money in the future, especially if you get them autographed too. Like so I'm good with manifesting the things that I want, like Kingdom Come introduced me to. Oh, so it's a thick comic. Oh, so I remember I was a kid and I don't know, I used to always get comics, but I don't know what I did with them. I don't know why I like lost interest in them like that. Like I guess it was because I was growing up in the hood, like, and it wasn't cool to like read comics as a black kid in Gary, Indiana. Like so, even though I was looked at kind of like as a nerd, I was still like I didn't wear glasses or anything. I was just short, quiet, and like had this mole on my ear that everybody would ask me, "What's that on your ear?" Like so, I thought I always, man, as a kid, I always thought I was an alien, like just off the how I looked, how I thought, like how I was operating. I'm like, man, there's something different about me. Mind you, like I will always look at the stars and like, man, like I just want to go back home. Felt like this ain't my home. Like so, once I woke up, I started like start tapping into the asking questions like, man, why do I feel like Earth is not my home. Like those answers start coming through science. So definitely indigo child. Like I realized, found that was one of the first things I realized I was an indigo child. Like so, went down that. That's when I learned that I was from Arcturian. Like so, it was just things, and that I learned all of the past lives that I learned. Tapped into the Akashic records. That's what it was. Like I tapped into my Akashic records. And like I just started like it was like it's nothing like the movies. If like let's just say Doctor Strange, like getting all that information and shit, like reading all those books fast and shit, is nothing like that. Like so, it's it's crazy to explain, but meditation plays a big part in like just unlocking your true self, your true capability. Like so, see, so I need to check out the new spirit. Like I said, all of those things be the same thing. They just give it different terms, different names, but it's the same thing. So that's why I'm like, why should I like discredit somebody else's shit because they call it this? It's the same thing overall when you read it. Like when you look at it from all perspectives, it's all the same fucking shit. Just a fucking different name, different face. And it's just like reincarnation. Every time you come back, you got a different name, different face. Like, but it's still the same core. Still the same spirit within. Like so. I mean, that's why I like read everybody else shit because it's always gonna be something a little bit different. Like it's always gonna be like something that's a little bit personal. Earth culture got a piece exactly like so. Me like I'm just trying to like see get the big picture. Like I want to like I don't want to just see what I see because that's what the world presented to me. I want to be able to like I said, I feel like I'm an explorer, an adventurer. I mean, anybody who ever played PlayStation, the Uncharted series, Nathan Drake Uncharted series, like that's my favorite game, and it's like he always like looking for treasures and shit. Like so, I resonate. That was one of the only games that I played from the beginning to the end. Like besides 2K, like that was the only game that I played from beginning to the end. Like all four games. Like so, I need to go see the movie because it's out right now. So hopefully by the time I do go see it, it ain't like went to like damn, they ain't got DVDs no more. Like, but if it comes to TV, I'll watch it at home. Like, so it ain't nothing. So I'm like just one of those like nomads in life that I'm just always on the go. Like I just gotta explore something different. Gotta see something new. Like that's where consciousness comes from too. Like expanding your like seeing new things. Like getting a taste of a new reality. Like knowing like everybody don't talk like you, think like you, act like you, dress like you. Like most people that I grew up with, they never left home. Like so, they expect the whole world to. I mean, they look at life from a different angle. Like, but the people who travel, they know. Like, but I always been a traveler, so I think you're really like reading Hoppy Prophecy. My answers. Okay, cool. Like I just back. Can you screenshot that? What House just said, so I can remember that. Definitely, if it's on YouTube, like man, I love watching YouTube videos rather than like reading because I get sleepy. My eyes, I need glasses. I be procrastinating on doing that. Like so, straight up naming things from this in the 20th century from the ancient tablet. Like so, I'm definitely gonna tap into that because I be having the time to, and I wanna like spend the extra time that I do have that I'm not like posting videos, community posts or live. Like I want to use that like at least to like learning like get a new game because a lot of times I just be watching tarot readings on fucking YouTube like just not even to see my future or nothing just like just to see what's going on around me like so and like I barely watch TV. Like I'll be watching me and my I'll go in the house after here after this and my wife will put some on and I'll like just fall asleep on it. Like Adam Bomb is mentioned in it. The Gourd, that name been popping up on something I recently watched. Can't think of the name. Oh, Stargate. Like that name popped up on Stargate. So even when I put
All
on
of
the
them
TV
were
though,
alarmed
like
and
even when I put on, not even just when she put on TV, even when I put on the TV, like I watch Spartacus like 2 episodes, I'm ready to just lay down and like just take a nap. Like TV is gonna put me to sleep. Like so, I rarely watch TV because that doesn't help me. I mean, certain shows you can learn from, like they have messages and meanings to them, but a lot of the TV don't. Like a lot of shit on TV don't. Like so, me understanding that and knowing that, like I'm very picky on things I want to watch, and it's hard to find a lot of those things. But YouTube is a place, but it's still about like, damn, I don't know what I want to watch. Like I don't. But as I get on here, y'all like recommend different things. I'm like, oh shit, I can check this out. Like that'll give me something new. Like so, I'm always willing to like to tap into something new that I definitely don't know about, and then learning like the transhumanism, like if that's the term. Like I'm gonna look more into that too. Like so, that sounds like pretty dope thing. Like one mankind to evolve and grow. Like that's been like my mission. Like since I woke up, like I want everybody to like just evolve, stop staying stuck. That's why I'll be like, hey, try some psychedelics sometime. Try a mushroom here and there. Like most people just drink alcohol, like, and that be it. They don't even smoke weed. I don't do nothing hard. I don't do no crack, coke, heroin, fentanyl, none of codeine, Xanax, Percocets. I don't do none of that. Like my shit is weed. Not even LSD. I tried LSD twice. That ain't then something I'm gonna say. I like that's my thing because it ain't. And like with mushrooms, I got fuck with mushrooms too. So, but it's mainly weed, edibles. Like, but other than that, like I like things that's gonna expand my mind. Like so, weed be having me thinking about shit. So LSD and fucking mushrooms be having me fucking figuring myself out, like judging myself to the T. Like you think you somebody? No, you ain't nothing. Like compared to like the stars and just like the world in its total. Like I'm like, yeah, I think highly of myself, but when it comes to like just Earth and all, like I'm small. Like what the fuck? Like it's like an ant in the universe. I'm just an ant in the universe. Like just in size wise. But as far as like how I feel about myself, I'm gonna always think highly of myself, like no matter what. Like so, some people they don't, and I'm like, well, you're kind of supposed to feel like that, but at the same time, like not when you dealing with humans on a daily basis, not when you like coming across people on a daily basis. Like, and there's the police just drove past while I'm hotboxing my car. Like, fuck, I ain't even in the driver's seat. Their respective elements, brown people have earth, corner, aquaponics created by brown people. Have water, DNA discovered by a black person. Yellow people have wind, have fire. Fire can create and destroy. It's a cartoon that I was watching. I think it was. It wasn't. I think it was Korra, Airbender or something, and it was like it's a cartoon, but it was like showing things like that, like how it didn't say white people, but the symbolism in the show, like we're saying, like how that was the case, like and like that is show like while like more Eastern, like Asian, Chinese, and they're dragons, like that's the air, and water, like Africa, Egypt, they was big on the Nile River, like so, and white, of course you know what they did with the fire, like so they turned that shit into fire power.
trembled. They cried out after that sheep, and to the other sheep who had been with him, and who was in the midst of them, saying, "We are not able to stand before our Lord, or to look upon him." Then that sheep who conducted them went away, and ascended the top of the rock. when the rest of the sheep began to grow blind and to wander from the path which he had shown
I
them.
fuck with the earth.
But he knew it
I'm
not.
like Avatar though.
Their Lord, however, was moved with great
I'm all.
indignation against them. And when that sheep had learned what had happened, he descended from the top of the
But if
rock,
I could
and
choose
coming
one, out of air, earth, fire, what is it? Air, earth, water, fire. Which one would I choose? It'll probably be air. I don't know. I don't know. Air. It's between air and water because I'm a like Pisces and a Libra. Like in my birth chart, most people don't know like they're more than just that one sign, that zodiac sign. Like you got hella different zodiac signs. So my main three are like Pisces sun, Aries rising, and Libra moon. Like so, I tend more to like be more of like a Libra and a Pisces, but how people see me is Aries. Like how like I'm confident in myself. Like I show like fire qualities, but I'm more of a water air type. So I don't know supernatural the way the angels are. I'm gonna check it out. You, you just giving me more reason because I fuck with the angels. God probably don't fuck with me because I was like a fallen angel and like I went to chasing after females. Like so he like you can never get back into heaven. Like so, my ex-wife was a Scorpio and I would never date another Scorpio in my life. I just went, but now I'm married. Like, but even then, like I would never date another Scorpio in my life. And but once again, she was more than just that sign. Like so, I would have to figure out her time of birth and all that. Like that's plays a big part in knowing like your zodiac's birth chart. Like is knowing the time you was born. Like so, I always knew that for myself. I know it for my children, my wife. I don't know if like nobody else like that. But yeah, like I'm definitely big on air and water. But if I had a choice, they make you free. Yeah, like Lucifer, like that's why he get all the bad rap because he's the big dog. Like he's the one who like stood up first and said, "I'm out this bitch." Like he didn't even say I'm out. He said, "I want to be like you, God. I want to be like great too. I want to be like you. Like you inspire me." And God was like, "What? You want to be like me? Get this nigga out of here." You could be God of that, the devil, the earth, the hell. That's what you gonna be looked at as. But it's so many angels who came down here after him was 200 of them, and who knows if it was ain't more than decided to fucking switch up on God. Cause I'm pretty sure some people like I mean not people, but some shit is like get tired of the same thing over and over. Like so, I'm gonna. I was planning on watching the show Lucifer again. Like I didn't watch probably a few seasons. I like that show already. Like I didn't watch a few seasons that are already, but I want to like get to the end, and then I'm gonna check out like some more shit so I can It's cause Supernatural that shit long as fuck, and me knowing like me, I won't fucking sit and watch it all the way through. Like it'll be years before I complete Supernatural, like low key. Yeah, yeah. That's I'm telling you, God don't deal with nobody. Like literally, he don't deal with nobody. Angels deal with his dirty work. They deal with each other. That's why I have a relationship with angels because I don't have no beef with them. Like I'm able to like talk to angels like cuz I'm a good guy. Like they knew my heart. God just was like, "Nah, you fucked up one time. You wanted you some pussy and you going to get cursed for this shit." Like you want to finish all of it. I'm definitely gonna finish it. Like what for supernatural in its length. Like and me knowing like I don't watch TV that much, it definitely take me a good year.
To them found that there were many which had become blind and had wandered from his path. As soon as they beheld him, they feared and trembled at his presence and became desirous of returning to their fold. Then that sheep, taking with him other sheep, went to those which had wandered, and afterwards began to kill them. They were terrified at his countenance. Then he caused those which had wandered to return, who went back to their fold. I likewise saw there in the vision that this sheep became a man, built an house for the Lord of the sheep, and made them all stand in that house.
Hit that like button already.
I perceived also that the sheep which proceeded to meet this sheep, their conductor, died. I saw too that all the great sheep perished, while smaller ones rose up in their place, entered into a pasture, and approached a river of water. Then that sheep, their conductor, who became a man, was separated from them and died. All the sheep sought after him and cried for him with bitter lamentation. I saw likewise that they ceased to cry after that sheep and passed over the river of water, and that there arose other sheep, all of whom conducted them, instead of those who were dead and who had previously conducted them. Then I saw that the sheep entered into a goodly place and a territory delectable and glorious. I saw also that they became satiated, that their house was in the midst of a delectable territory, and that sometimes their eyes were opened, and that sometimes they were blind, until another sheep arose and conducted them. He brought them all back, and their eyes were opened. Then dogs, foxes, and wild boars began to devour them, until again another sheep arose, the master of the flock, one of themselves, a ram, to conduct them. This ram began to butt on every side those dogs, foxes, and wild boars, until they all perished. But the former sheep opened his eyes, and saw the ram in the midst of them, who had laid aside his glory. And he began to strike the sheep, treading upon them, and behaving himself without dignity. Then their Lord sent the former sheep again to a still different sheep, and raised him up to be a ram, and to conduct them, instead of that sheep who had laid aside his glory. Going therefore to him, and conversing with him alone, he raised up that ram, and made him a prince and leader of the flock, all the time that the dogs troubled the sheep. The first ram paid respect to this latter ram. Then the latter ram arose, and fled away from before his face, and I saw that those dogs caused the first ram to fall. But the latter ram arose, and conducted the smaller sheep. That ram likewise begat many sheep, and died. Then there was a smaller sheep, a ram, instead of him, which became a prince and leader, conducting the flock. And the sheep increased in size and multiplied. And all the dogs, foxes, and wild boars feared and fled away from him. That ram also struck and killed all the wild beasts, so that they could not again prevail in the midst of the sheep, nor at any time ever snatch them away.
So it's basically like
And
the
that
first
house
one was like weak. The second one he was alright. Then the third one he came into power. He like, yeah, alright, ain't nobody fucking this up. Ain't nobody touching my other sheep. Like so. Hey.
was made large and wide, a lofty tower being built upon it by the sheep, for the Lord of the sheep. The house was low, but the tower was elevated and very high. Then the Lord of the sheep stood upon that tower, and caused a full table to approach before him. Again I saw that those sheep wandered, and went various ways, forsaking that their house. And that their Lord called to some among them, whom he sent to them.
Right?
But these the sheep began to kill. And when one of them was saved from slaughter, he leaped and cried out against those who were desirous of killing him. But the Lord of the sheep delivered him from their hands, and made him ascend to him, and remain with him. He sent also many others to them to testify, and with lamentations to exclaim against them. Again I saw, when some of them forsook the house of their Lord, and his tower, wandering on all sides, and growing blind. I saw that the Lord of the sheep made a great slaughter among them in their pasture, until they cried out to him in consequence of that slaughter. Then he departed from the place of his habitation, and left them in the power of lions, tigers, wolves, and the zeet, and in the power of foxes, and of every beast. And the wild beasts began to tear them. I saw too that he forsook the house of their fathers, and their tower, giving them all into the power of lions to tear and devour them, into the power of every beast. Then I began to cry out with all my might, imploring the Lord of the sheep and showing him how the sheep were devoured by all the beasts of prey. But he looked on in silence, rejoicing that they were devoured, swallowed up, and carried off, and leaving them in the power of every beast for food. He called also 70 shepherds and resigned to them the care of the sheep, that they might overlook them, saying to them and to their associates, every one of you henceforwards overlook the sheep, and whatsoever I command you, do, and I will deliver them to you numbered. I will tell you which of them shall be slain. These destroy. And he delivered the sheep to them. Then he called to another and said, understand and watch everything which the shepherds shall do to these sheep, for many more of them shall perish than I have commanded. Of every excess and slaughter which the shepherds shall commit, there shall be an account, as how many may have perished by my command, and how many they may have destroyed of their own heads. Of all the destruction brought about by each of the shepherds there shall be an account, and according to the number I will cause a recital to be made before me, how many they have destroyed of their own heads, and how many they have delivered up to destruction, that I may have this testimony against them, that I may know all their proceedings, and that, delivering the sheep to them, I may see what they will do, whether they will act as I have commanded them, or not. Of this, however, they shall be ignorant. Neither shalt thou make any explanation to them, neither shalt thou reprove them, but there shall be an account of all the destruction done by them in their respective seasons. Then they began to kill and destroy more than it was commanded them. And they left the sheep in the power of the lions, so that very many of them were devoured and swallowed up by lions and tigers, and wild boars preyed upon them. That tower they burnt, and overthrew that house. Then I grieved extremely on account of the tower, and because the house of the sheep was overthrown. Neither was I afterwards able to perceive whether they again entered that house. The shepherds likewise and their associates delivered them to all the wild beasts, that they might devour them. Each of them in his season, according to his number, was delivered up. Each of them, one with another, was described in a book. How many of them, one with another, were destroyed in a book? More, however, than was ordered, every shepherd killed and destroyed. Then I began to weep, and was greatly indignant on account of the sheep. In like manner also I saw in the vision him who wrote, how he wrote down one, destroyed by the shepherds every day. He ascended, remained, and exhibited each of his books to the Lord of the sheep, containing all which they had done, and all which each of them had made away with, and all which they had delivered up to destruction. He took the book up in his hands, read it, sealed it, and deposited it. After this, I saw shepherds overlooking for 12 hours. And behold, 3 of the sheep departed, arrived, went in, and began building all which was fallen down of that house. But the wild boars hindered them, although they prevailed not. Again they began to build as before, and raised up that tower, which was called a lofty tower. And again they began to place before the tower a table, with every impure and unclean kind of bread upon it. Moreover, also, all the sheep were blind, and could not see, as were the shepherds likewise. Thus were they delivered up to the shepherds for a great destruction, who trod them under foot and devoured them. Yet was their Lord silent, until all the sheep in the field were destroyed. The shepherds and the sheep were all mixed together, but they did not save them from the power of the beasts. Then he who wrote the book ascended, exhibited it, and read it at the residence of the Lord of the sheep. He petitioned him for them and prayed, pointing out every act of the shepherds and testifying before him against them all. Then taking the book, he deposited it with him
Appreciate it. And to the person
and departed.
who did, shout out to you.
Chapter 89. And I observed during the time that thus 37 shepherds were overlooking, all of whom finished in their respective periods as the first. Others then received them into their hands, that they might overlook them in their respective periods, every shepherd in his own period. Afterwards I saw in the vision that all the birds of heaven arrived, eagles, the avist,
The next
kites, and
giveaway is
ravens.
at 30K.
The eagle instructed
So
them all.
I'm at 22,000 now.
They began to devour the sheep, to peck out their eyes, and to eat up their bodies. The sheep then cried out,
30K.
for their bodies were devoured by the birds.
Giveaway.
I also cried out, and groaned in my sleep against that shepherd which overlooked the flock.
Should I do a raffle, like a dollar
And I
raffle?
looked, while the sheep were eaten
like
up by the
gas
dogs, by
card,
the eagles,
like
and by the kites. They neither left them their
give
body,
people more
nor
of a
their
chance.
skin, nor their muscles, until their bones alone remained.
Pause it. Like, should I do like a $100? Should I do it just a $50 giveaway, where a person guesses my past life, or should I do $100 raffle, like a dollar raffle or $2 raffle, like for the gas card? Which one do y'all? When I hit 30K. But if I do the raffle, I can start now. Like, I can start the raffle now. Like, soon as I hit 30K, whoever wins the pot, that's what it'll be. Like, I'll do a raffle where whoever wins the pot of the raffle, like, they take the winnings. Like, after the end of the month. Like, once I hit 30K. Like, so, and then we'll start back over. And once I hit 40K, we'll do another raffle. Or whoever wins that pot, they takes the whole winning. Like, so I think that'd be a better, like, chance. Like, so if it's only $2, people to invested $2, and you the only person who did the raffle, hey, you win your $2. Or if it's $100 and 10 people did it, the chances of, you never know. Like, so I think that's more like fun, like giving the person a chance to win, like after, because who knows how fast it'll take me to hit 30K. Like, so if I'm at 22,000 now, and it takes me, let's say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I've been on live, and people have been donating every single day to this raffle, and they actually win that, or whoever wins it. I mean, like, that'd be like a good, like, idea, I think. So I think I'm gonna just go with that one.
Until their bones fell upon the ground, and the sheep became
Or should
diminished.
I just do like the $100?
I observed likewise during the time that
do like the raffle, and then people just win $100. Would y'all rather win $100 gift? I mean, gas card, or $100, whatever, or would you want the pot? Which one? Pot, raffle. I mean, down to be the first live again. Hey, when they get it cracking, we can make it happen. Like I said, when they get it cracking, we can make it happen. Like, so, cause I'm gonna be on here every night, so for people to want to get on here and, like, hey, you can get your own, like, have people, whatever you talking about, they can follow you, subscribe to you off that. Like, so they can have a face to who's making a comment. So it's about
23
time, right?
shepherds were overlooking, who completed in their respective periods 58 periods. Then were small lambs born of those white sheep, who began to open their eyes and to see, crying out to the sheep. The sheep, however, cried not out to them, neither did they hear what they had uttered to them, but were deaf, blind, and obdurate in the greatest degrees. I saw in the vision that ravens flew down upon those lambs, that they seized one of them, and that tearing the sheep in pieces, they devoured them.
Damn.
I also saw that horns grew upon those lambs, and that the ravens lighted down upon their horns. I saw too that a large horn sprouted out on an animal among the sheep, and that their eyes were opened. He looked at them. Their eyes were wide open, and he cried out to them. Then the Dabala saw him, all of whom ran to him. And besides this, all the eagles, the avist, the ravens, and the kites were still carrying off the sheep, flying down upon them and devouring them. The sheep were silent, but the Dabala lamented and cried out. Then the ravens contended and struggled with them. They wished among them to break his horn, but they prevailed not over him. I looked on them until the shepherds, the eagles, the avis, and the kites came, who cried out to the ravens to break the horn of the Dabala, to contend with him, and to kill him. But he struggled with them, and cried out that help might come to him. Then I perceived that the man came who had written
Imagine
down the
this,
names
y'all.
of the...
I think the raffle pot will be a lot better because just imagine once I get 100K subscribers, right? And we got at least 1,000, 10,000 people in the live. And it's a raffle pot like for if we let's say the goal is to get from 100K to not a million, yeah, a million. Let's just say a million. And that raffle goes from that time up until that point. You know how much money it probably be in that pot until that like that. I mean, I don't know. Sounds like a good idea to me. Like so, what y'all think?
shepherds, and who ascended up
I
before
have
the
to take
Lord of the
my cut
sheep.
off the top,
He
so
brought
give
assistance
you
and
my
caused
idea.
everyone
You
to
know,
see
like
him descending
if that
to the
money hit
help of the Dabbalah.
100K, 10K,
I
I'm
perceived
gonna have.
likewise that the
Hey,
Lord of the sheep came to them in wrath, while all those who saw him fled away. All fell down in his tabernacle before his face,
shit,
while
I'll
all
be
the
investing
eagles,
in that
the
mug
avis,
too. Nah, I
ravens,
couldn't
and
do that.
kites
That'd be
assembled,
cheating.
and brought with them all the sheep of
That'd
the
be
field.
cheating.
All came together and strove to break the horn of the Dabbalah. Then I saw that the man who wrote the book at the word of the Lord opened the book of destruction, of that destruction which the last 12 shepherds wrought, and pointed out before the Lord of the sheep that they destroyed more than those who preceded them. I saw also that the Lord of the sheep came to them, and taking in his hand the scepter of his wrath, seized the earth, which became rent asunder, while all the beasts and birds of heaven fell from the sheep and sunk into the earth, which closed over them. I saw too that a large sword was given to the sheep, who went forth against all the beasts of the
So it
field to
says
slay
there's
them.
2 people in
But
here,
all the
but it's
beasts and
19
birds of
likes,
heaven
so that
fled
shows
away from before their
219.
face.
So it makes
And
me
I
wonder,
saw
is
a throne
somebody
erect
back home in my live? Hmm. You gonna show yourself? You gonna say something? Probably not.
in a delectable land.
Follow the signs, people.
Upon
Follow the
this
signs.
sat the Lord of the
Those are the
sheep,
signs I
who
follow.
received all the sealed books which were opened before him. Then the Lord called the first 7 white ones, and commanded them to bring before him the first of the first stars, which preceded the stars whose form partly resembled that of horses. The first star which fell down first, and they brought them all before him. And he spoke to the man who wrote in his presence, who was one of the 7 white ones, saying, Take those 70 shepherds, to whom I delivered up the sheep, and who receiving them killed more of them than I commanded. Behold, I saw them all bound, and all standing before him. First came on the trial of the stars, which being judged and found guilty, went to the place of punishment. They thrust them into a place deep and full of flaming fire, and full of pillars of fire. Then the 70 shepherds were judged, and being found guilty, were thrust into
That's
the
crazy.
flaming abyss.
That's crazy.
At that time, likewise, I perceived that one abyss was thus opened in the midst of the earth, which was full of fire.
You said who?
They got to realize we ain't talking about disrespectful.
Yeah.
Okay. You ride with me. We'll start playing with me, man. Before they can really feel some type of way, this shit blow there. I
Yeah.
know the truth, though. Ain't on my auntie, though. You feel that way, nigga.
That's facts.
Going viral.
Exactly.
It's going viral, though. Tell them stop playing with it. Thank God, but no, ain't no, he ain't finna end shit, though.
You have a good one, man.
What you want? Hey, you got another swisher?
Nah, that was my last one. I'm about to go in the house right now. Like after this go out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shit up. You sonny,
Yeah, have a good one, bro.
I ain't finna do that though, so you know it's how to show that face though, man.
Hey, stay positive.
Supposed to know this.
Hey, stay positive, man.
Hey, that part. Thank you. You too, brother.
We'll do. Told you people be fucking in my business. In my he remind me he looked like Young Thug. Like, and I've been seeing like Young Thug repeatedly too, like so I hope Young Thug is good. His shout out to his baby mama did just something did just happen to her. Like she didn't just get murdered. So like that's some shit you don't want to happen. Like I got three, well, wife, then like two other. I don't want nothing to happen to them. Shit, even if I'm not with them. So oh, that dude did look like Young Thug. That happened. Like seeing signs. I don't know. I want to do Young Thug know about positive minds on. You know, he be like tuning in. That dude did look like him. Shit. He ain't make me uncomfortable. Like he ain't like still no fear of me, but like that just let me know it's time to go. That was my sign. Like so, thank you guys for tuning in. Like it's only showing like one person in here, even though I know it's more people in here. It's only showing one, so like that's letting me know it's my time to go. I ain't ate nothing yet, so dinner time for me. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We're gonna be back tomorrow. Like so, peace. See you tomorrow.